What happens when one of the biggest superstars in the world sits down for what should be a routine interview and instead finds herself under attack from a host who seems determined to humiliate her on live television? What happens when professionalism goes out the window and personal vendettas take center stage? Today, we're diving into one of the most explosive celebrity interviews ever captured on live TV, where Jennifer Lopez found herself pushed to her absolute breaking point by Behar in a way that left the entire studio stunned and viewers at home picking their jaws up off the floor. Before we get into this incredible story, make sure you hit that subscribe button and drop a comment below telling me what you think really triggered this entire meltdown. Now let's get into what really went down. The atmosphere in the View studio was already thick with tension before Jennifer Lopez even walked through those doors. Behind the scenes, sources were whispering about Behar's mood that morning. She had apparently been complaining to producers about having to interview what she called another vapid celebrity when there were real news stories to cover. The irony wasn't lost on anyone, considering The View had built its reputation partly on these exact celebrity interviews that Joy now seemed to resent. When Jennifer Lopez finally made her entrance, looking absolutely stunning in a crisp white blazer and her signature glowing skin, the audience erupted in applause. She waved graciously, her smile radiant as always, completely unaware of what was about to unfold. As she settled into the guest chair, adjusting her posture with the practiced ease of someone who had done thousands of interviews, Behar sat across from her with what could only be described as a smirk. Well, Jennifer Lopez," Joy began, her voice dripping with a tone that immediately set off alarm bells for anyone paying attention. "Here you are again, promoting another project. It seems like every few months you've got something new to sell us." Jennifer's smile faltered for just a microsecond before she recovered, her media training kicking in. "Well, Joy, I'm passionate about my work, and I love being able to share different projects with my fans. I think that's what artists do." "Artists," Joy repeated, emphasizing the word like it left a bad taste in her mouth. "That's interesting. So you consider yourself primarily an artist these days?" The question hung in the air like a loaded weapon. Jennifer shifted slightly in her seat, clearly sensing that this wasn't going to be the typical friendly chat she was expecting. "I've always considered myself an artist, Joy. Whether it's music, film, or business, I put my heart into everything I do." "Your heart?" Joy nodded slowly, her expression becoming more pointed. "Right. So when you were married to Ben Affleck the first time, and then you weren't, and then you dated other people, and then you married other people, and then you got back together with Ben, and then that fell apart again, was your heart in all of that too? Because, honey, it's getting hard for the rest of us to keep track." The studio fell dead silent. You could practically hear a pin drop as every person in that room realized they were witnessing something unprecedented. Jennifer's face went completely still, her jaw tightening as she processed what had just happened. Behar had just crossed a line that seasoned interviewers know never to cross, turning a professional appearance into a personal attack. "I'm sorry, Joy," Jennifer said, her voice carefully controlled, but with an edge that anyone could detect. "I came here to talk about my new project, not to discuss my personal relationships for your entertainment." "Oh, but that's where you're wrong," Joy shot back, leaning forward in her chair like a predator sensing weakness. "See, when you put your personal life out there for public consumption, when you make your relationships part of your brand, when you parade your love life in front of cameras and magazines, then it becomes fair game. You can't have it both ways, sweetie." Jennifer's hands, which had been resting calmly in her lap, now gripped the arms of her chair. Her voice remained steady, but there was fire building behind her eyes. "Joy, I've never made my personal relationships part of any brand. I'm a human being who happens to be in the public eye, and I deserve the same respect that you would want for yourself and your family." "Respect," Joy laughed, and it wasn't a pleasant sound. "That's rich, coming from someone who's made a career out of reinventing herself every few years. First you're a fly girl, then you're a serious actress, then you're a pop star, then you're a businesswoman, then you're back to acting, then you're a judge, then you're back to music. I mean, do you even know who you are anymore?" The attack was so vicious, so personal, and so completely unprofessional that even the other co-hosts looked uncomfortable. Whoopi Goldberg, who was sitting at the head of the table, shifted in her seat and opened her mouth as if to intervene, but Jennifer held up a hand. "You know what, Joy?" Jennifer said, and her voice had changed completely. Gone was the careful media-trained tone, replaced by something raw and real. "I've sat here and listened to you attack my character, my career, and my personal life for the past 5 minutes, and I've been trying to be professional about it. But you want to know who I am? I'm someone who has worked every single day of her life to build something from nothing. I'm someone who has never forgotten where I came from, and I'm someone who treats people with respect unless they prove they don't deserve it." Joy's eyes lit up like she had been waiting for exactly this moment. "Oh, so now we're getting the real Jennifer Lopez. This is what I wanted to see. Not the polished, perfect image you usually sell us, but the real person underneath all that makeup and designer clothing. You want real?" Jennifer's voice was rising now, and everyone in the studio could feel the electricity in the air. "Here's real, Joy. I came here as a courtesy, to promote a project that employs hundreds of people and brings joy to millions of fans. I came here expecting to have a professional conversation with someone I thought was a professional broadcaster. Instead, I find myself sitting across from someone who seems to think that tearing down successful women is somehow good television." The words hung in the air like thunder before a lightning strike. Joy Behar's face twisted into something that looked almost gleeful, as if Jennifer's pushback was exactly the reaction she had been fishing for all along. The other co-hosts sat frozen, clearly unsure whether to intervene or let this train wreck continue to unfold in real time. Tearing down successful women? Joy's voice rose to match Jennifer's energy. "Oh, please. Spare me the feminist solidarity speech. You think because you've made money and gotten famous that somehow makes you untouchable? That we should all just nod and smile while you parade around acting like you're some kind of role model?" Jennifer's eyes flashed with something dangerous. "Acting like I'm a role model? Joy, I've never claimed to be perfect, but I've worked my entire life to show young girls, especially young Latinas, that they can dream big and make those dreams reality. What exactly are you showing them right now with this behavior?" "I'm showing them that actions have consequences," Joy shot back, her voice getting shriller by the second. "I'm showing them that just because someone is rich and famous doesn't mean they get to control the narrative. You want to know what I think? I think you're upset because for once, someone isn't kissing your behind and telling you how wonderful you are." The accusation was so outrageous that Jennifer actually laughed, but it wasn't a pleasant sound. "You think this is about ego? You think I came here expecting people to kiss my behind? Joy, I've been in this business for over 2 decades. I've been criticized, I've been torn apart by tabloids, I've had my failures splashed across every magazine cover in America. You think your little tantrum here is something new for me? Little tantrum?" Joy's face was turning red now, her composure completely shattered. "I'm doing my job as a journalist, asking the tough questions that other people are afraid to ask." "Journalist?" Jennifer's voice dripped with disbelief. "Is that what you call this? Because where I come from, journalists ask questions about relevant topics. They don't sit across from guests and attack their personal lives for sport. They don't use their platform to bully people just because they can." Joy slammed her hand on the desk so hard that everyone in the studio jumped. "Don't you dare lecture me about journalism, young lady. I've been doing this since before you were even famous. I've interviewed presidents, world leaders, Nobel Prize winners. I don't need some pop star telling me how to do my job." "Then act like it," Jennifer fired back without missing a beat. "Because right now, you're acting like someone who's forgotten what professionalism looks like. You're acting like someone who's more interested in creating drama than having actual conversations." The exchange was escalating beyond anything anyone in the studio had ever witnessed. Producers were frantically signaling from behind the cameras, but neither woman seemed to notice or care. They were locked in a battle of wills that had moved far beyond the original interview. "You know what your problem is, Jennifer?" Joy's voice had taken on a nasty edge that sent chills through everyone watching. "You've been surrounded by people for so long that you can't handle it when someone tells you the truth. You've been living in a bubble where everyone tells you you're amazing, and now when someone dares to question that narrative, you can't deal with it." Jennifer stood up from her chair so abruptly that it nearly fell backwards. Her movement was so sudden and decisive that it sent a shock wave through the entire studio. "The truth?" she said, her voice now carrying the full force of her anger. You want to talk about truth, Joy? Here's the truth. The truth is that I've worked harder than you could ever imagine to get where I am. The truth is that I've faced more obstacles and overcome more challenges in my career than you've probably faced in your entire life. Oh, please, Joy scoffed, but there was something in her voice now that suggested she was beginning to realize she might have pushed too far. Everyone in Hollywood has obstacles. Everyone has challenges. That doesn't make you special. You're absolutely right, Jennifer said, and her voice had become deadly calm. It doesn't make me special. But you know what it does make me? It makes me someone who understands the value of hard work. It makes me someone who respects the opportunities I've been given. It makes me someone who would never use a platform like this to tear down another woman just because I was having a bad day. The implication was clear and devastating. Joy's face went through a series of expressions, from anger to confusion to something that looked almost like shame, before settling back on defiance. "Don't you turn this around on me?" Joy said, but her voice lacked the venom it had carried moments before. "Don't try to make me the villain here just because I asked you some tough questions." "Tough questions?" Jennifer's laugh was sharp and bitter. "Joy, if you had asked me tough questions about my work, my projects, my business decisions, even my artistic choices, I would have answered every single one of them with respect and honesty. But that's not what you did. What you did was attack me personally, attack my character, attack my relationships, attack everything about me except the very things I came here to discuss." The studio was so quiet now that the hum of the air conditioning seemed deafening. Everyone was holding their breath, waiting to see what would happen next. Joy opened her mouth as if to respond, but Jennifer wasn't finished. "And you want to know the most disappointing thing about all of this?" Jennifer continued, her voice carrying a sadness now, along with the anger. "The most disappointing thing is that I actually respected you before I sat down in this chair. I thought you were someone who used her voice to lift up important causes, to ask meaningful questions, to contribute something positive to the conversation. Instead, I'm sitting here watching you use your platform to try to humiliate me for absolutely no reason other than your own personal entertainment." Joy's mouth opened and closed several times, but no words came out. For the first time since the interview began, she seemed to have been rendered speechless. The other co-hosts were looking back and forth between the two women like spectators at a tennis match, clearly unsure whether they should step in or let this play out. The silence stretched on for what felt like an eternity before Joy finally found her voice again, but when she spoke, it was with a desperation that everyone in the room could hear. "Look, Jennifer, maybe we got off on the wrong foot here, but—" "No," Jennifer cut her off, her voice like steel. "No, Joy. We didn't get off on the wrong foot. You made a conscious choice to attack me from the moment I sat down. You made a conscious choice to be disrespectful, to be unprofessional, and to use your position to try to make me look bad. Don't try to backtrack now that you realize how this looks." Joy's face cycled through emotions again, settling on a mixture of embarrassment and stubborn defiance. "I was just trying to have an honest conversation. I was trying to get past the usual celebrity fluff and talk about real things." "Real things?" Jennifer's voice rose again, and this time there was no holding back. "You call attacking my personal relationships real conversation? You call questioning my identity as an artist real journalism? Joy, if you wanted to have an honest conversation, you could have asked me about the challenges facing Latino representation in Hollywood. You could have asked me about my business ventures and what it's like being a woman in entertainment. You could have asked me about my philanthropy work, my production company, the hundreds of people I employ. Instead, you chose to make this personal." The devastating accuracy of Jennifer's words seemed to hit Joy like a physical blow. She shifted uncomfortably in her seat, her earlier bravado crumbling. "Well, people want to know about those things too. People want to know? Or you wanted to create a moment?" Jennifer shot back. "Because let me tell you something, Joy. I've been doing interviews for over 20 years, and I know the difference between a host who's genuinely curious and a host who's looking to create drama at someone else's expense." Whoopi Goldberg finally decided to intervene, clearing her throat loudly. "Ladies, maybe we should." But Jennifer held up her hand again, and Whoopi fell silent. The power dynamic in the room had shifted completely. Jennifer Lopez, who had walked in as a guest, was now commanding the entire studio with a presence that was impossible to ignore. "You know what, Joy?" Jennifer said, and her voice had taken on a tone that was almost conversational, which somehow made it even more devastating. "I feel sorry for you. I really do. Because I can see what this is really about now. This isn't about journalism. This isn't about asking tough questions. This is about someone who's been in this business for a long time, watching other people succeed and feeling bitter about it." Joy's face went pale. That's completely ridiculous. I'm not bitter about anything." "Aren't you?" Jennifer tilted her head slightly, and there was something almost pitying in her expression. "Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like someone who's watching younger, more successful women walk through doors that maybe you feel should have been open to you. And instead of celebrating those successes or using your platform to lift up other women, you're sitting here trying to tear them down." "I don't have to listen to this," Joy said, but her voice was shaky now, and everyone could hear it. "You're absolutely right," Jennifer agreed. "You don't have to listen to this. Just like I don't have to sit here and let you disrespect me on national television. The difference is, I'm still sitting here because I have something to say, and I'm going to finish saying it." The entire studio was mesmerized. This wasn't just a celebrity having a meltdown. This was a master class in standing up for yourself, with grace under pressure. Jennifer had turned what should have been her worst nightmare into a moment of complete empowerment. "Here's what I want your viewers to understand," Jennifer continued, now addressing the camera directly. "I came here today excited to talk about a project that I'm passionate about. A project that will entertain people and provide jobs for talented individuals in our industry. I came here prepared to have a fun, engaging conversation about my work and my life. What I found instead was someone who seemed determined to use their platform not to inform or entertain, but to hurt." Joy tried once more to regain control. "Jennifer, I think you're overreacting." "Am I?" Jennifer's eyes blazed as she turned back to Joy. "Let me ask you something, Joy. If someone invited you to their show and then spent the entire time attacking your marriage, questioning your professional credentials, and basically trying to humiliate you in front of millions of people, how would you react? Would you just sit there and smile? Would you just take it because that's what's expected?" Joy's mouth opened, but no words came out. She was completely trapped by her own behavior, and everyone in the room knew it. "That's what I thought," Jennifer said quietly. "Because deep down, you know exactly what you did here today. You know that you crossed lines that professional broadcasters don't cross. You know that you turned what should have been a pleasant interview into an attack session. And you know that if someone did to you what you just did to me, you would be just as upset as I am right now." The camera operators were getting shots from every possible angle, knowing they were capturing television history. This wasn't just a celebrity interview gone wrong. This was a moment that would be talked about for years to come. Jennifer stood up fully now, smoothing down her blazer with the kind of dignified composure that made her look like she was preparing to leave a board meeting rather than walking away from a hostile interview. "Joy, I hope someday you figure out what's really making you so angry, because it's clearly not about me or my career or my relationships. It's about something much deeper than that, and until you deal with it, you're going to keep having moments like this where you hurt people unnecessarily." She turned toward the camera one final time. "To the viewers at home, I want you to know that I'm proud of the work I've done. I'm proud of the woman I've become, and I'm proud that I stood up for myself today instead of just taking abuse because it was expected of me. We all deserve to be treated with basic human decency, whether we're celebrities or not." With that, Jennifer Lopez walked off the set of The View, leaving behind a stunned silence and one of the most explosive celebrity interviews in television history. Joy Behar sat frozen in her chair, the reality of what had just happened clearly sinking in, while the other co-hosts struggled to figure out how to move forward with the rest of the show. The interview was over, but the impact of what had just unfolded would be felt for a very long time to come. Jennifer Lopez had just shown the world what it looks like when someone refuses to be diminished, and in doing so, she had created a moment that would be remembered as one of the most powerful examples of standing up for yourself ever captured on live television. What did you think about Jennifer's response to Joy's attacks? Was she right to call out this kind of behavior, or should celebrities just accept this treatment as part of the job? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more incredible stories like this one.